What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. I am your host, James Murphy, aka Murph, and in this one, I am very, very excited for this episode. We have a ton of exciting and great topics to talk about. Red Sox, Fenway Park, opening day for the 2022 season. The Celtics will be facing the Brooklyn Nets in the first round of the playoffs, just like last year. And also, I will be unveiling my full and complete mock draft 2.0 for the 2022 NFL draft. So we have some big topics to talk about today, and I really want to dive into each of them. The draft chatter will probably take up most of this episode. However, I refuse to be negligent on the big topics surrounding the Red Sox and the Celtics respectively. But hopefully you had a fantastic work week, school week, or maybe you're on vacation somewhere. Hopefully you had a fantastic week nonetheless, and you're looking forward to the weekend up ahead. We've had some great weather here in the New England, Rhode Island area the past couple of days. So I am in such a great, chippy, and cheery mood. It just, nice weather, springtime, Celtics in the playoffs. Bruins are upcoming their playoff series. Red Sox opening day or like opening weeks or so, around that time. And then the NFL draft. Oh, you just cannot get better than that right now. Obviously, you kind of could, but you know what I mean. And the big Red Sox topic that I want to talk about is Xander Bogaerts. What about him? Well, before the season started, the Red Sox did offer Xander Bogaerts a contract extension. However, he did reject the extension, and Bogaerts didn't want to negotiate anything once opening day has passed. And now, obviously, it did last week. There's going to be some silence revolving around that contract extension for Xander Bogaerts, and it appears there may be some silence for a long time because this contract extension that he was offered and rejected is, quote, a slap in the face, one of his friends says in a report. And I'm not going to read the whole report. I just want to talk about the numbers. The Boston Red Sox offered Xander Bogaerts a 4-year, $90 million extension. Okay, that's a starting point. However, right now he's making $20 million a year from his previous contract extension that he signed. It was like a 7-year deal with an opt-out after 5 years. And, the opt-out's at the end of this year, as we know. 90 divided by 4 is an average of $22.5 million a year. Yes, it's a salary bump. Yes, it's a pay bump. However, Xander Bogaerts is one of the best shortstops in this game. He's a top 25 player in this game, not including pitchers. You could maybe even argue pitchers, and he's still in the top 25, I would say. I mean, he's had that kind of production the past couple of years. He's the leader of your clubhouse, and he's the current face of the Boston Red Sox. He is so vitally important to this team. I don't know if a dollar sign can put his importance, label his importance. Bogaerts has been part of this system for well over a decade now. I mean, he came up in 2013, but he obviously was in the farm system well before that. It's just, you can't let Xander Bogaerts walk, especially after what the fans and you went through with Andrew Benintendi being traded and then Mookie Betts for being traded. I cannot harp on this enough. I was okay with trading one, Betts or Benintendi, and re-sign the other. You trade Betts, you got some prospects back, turned into Alex Verdugo, pretty good player. Jeter Downs, hopefully, and then Connor Wong, hopefully. Okay, now go re-sign Andrew Benintendi since you traded away Mookie Betts. Nope, they trade away Andrew Benintendi, a fan favorite. Both of those players, fan favorites. Gone, out the door. Okay, Red Sox suck a little bit in 2019 and 2020. And then they come back and have a fantastic season, recapturing the love and the heart of the fan base in 2021. And they have higher hopes, and the team itself has, I think, a higher ceiling this year than it did last year. Obviously, taking most things into consideration, pitching. So you can't let Bogaerts walk. You just dished out $24 million to Trevor Story. I would say, Xander Bogaerts is better. absolutely is better than Trevor Story and will be better for the next couple of seasons. You have to at least start at 25. 4 for 100, 5 for 125. I think that is the bare minimum that you have to start at, because you cannot lose Betts, Benintendi, Bogaerts. And if Bogaerts doesn't come back, you could probably count on Devers not coming back. 4 of the game's top players, I don't think Benintendi's a top player, but Betts, Bogaerts, and Devers are certainly top 25 players. Benintendi may be a top 100 player. But still, very good players, all homegrown, all of them you got rid of. How can me and you as a fan expect to fall in love with a team, with players, and root for the players, and emotionally and sentimentally invest in this team and the players when they keep getting rid of their best players? Everybody loved Mookie Betts. Got rid of him. Everybody loved Andrew Benintendi. We got rid of him. Everybody loves Xander Bogaerts. Oh, we'll get rid of him too. And then Devers, if Bogaerts ain't here, he's just going to walk. So the importance of Xander Bogaerts is crucial. I think you can afford the dollar amount to pay him. He's giving you the offensive production. You have Trevor Story. So, yes, you do have a shortstop replacement. And yes, you do have a couple middle infielders coming up through the pipeline. But none of them are Xander Bogaerts. And if he doesn't want to play shortstop, okay. All right. Sign him to the extension. And if things aren't working out after a couple of seasons, look to trade him then. Because like I said, you got Story for 6-7 seasons. You got Marcelo Meyer, who'll be up in a few seasons. Jeter Downs, who's trying to make it to the league. You got Nick York. Who's the other guy? Nick York, Jeter Downs, Marcelo Meyer. There's one more middle infielder. Why can't I think of his name? Red Sox prospects. Why can't I think of the other name? Oh man, this is gonna kill me. This is gonna eat me away. Who is the other player? Not Nick York. Not Matthew Lugo. Huh. I guess it's just those two that I was thinking of. I swear I was thinking of someone else too. Anyways, you just can't afford to do it. You can't. You absolutely cannot afford to do it. Because like I said, if you don't bring back Bogaerts, you're not going to bring back Devers. Devers has already said that he wants to play. He will sign an extension, or he won't sign an extension until Bogaerts signs his extension. Fair. I get it. Oh, Blaze Jordan. He's not a middle infielder, but you also have him coming up too. You can't afford it. You cannot afford it. Like, when I say you can't afford to lose them. Like, you can pay them. You can absolutely afford to pay them. I don't know. How do you guys feel about this? I know I am opening up this episode very strong, very stern and heated with this Bogaerts discussion, because I'm like, you lowballed Mookie Betts, and I'm glad you didn't sign him to the deal that he got with the Dodgers, because I think that's just dumb money, and I don't think he's worth that kind of money. But what do you guys feel? Or do you want Xander Bogaerts to resign? Do you want him to just walk at the end of 2021 if he does decide to opt out? Or do you want the Red Sox to just trade him in the middle of the year and just get something back because they know they're not going to be able to re-sign him? Me personally, you know my thoughts and opinions. Re-sign him. I think that's what you need to do. It has such a bigger ripple effect than we see on the surface of just having Xander Bogaerts play shortstop for the Red Sox. Again, current face of your franchise. He is part of the heart and soul of your lineup. He gels well with the locker room. He is like the foundation in your locker room. He's brought out the best in a lot of players. Devers, big example. I mean, Alex Cora has really resonated with Xander Bogaerts, and Bogaerts is like an extension of Cora now. He just does way more for your team than just playing shortstop for the Red Sox. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about this topic. Leave those down in the comment section below if you're listening on YouTube. Or you can reach out to me via social media at Murph's Cardtown on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about this topic and matter, because I do want to know where the fan base is. I've heard a bunch of different opinions from people. Re-sign him, trade him, let him walk. I've heard it all from people. So I want to know your thoughts and opinions about this, as you know mine, and that is extend them. Start at 25. See what that can get you. 25 for 4, 25 for 5, and just kind of go from there. But Red Sox do have opening day today, and I'm very, very excited. They were able to turn around a little bit. They were able to turn around a little bit in Detroit as they were playing the Detroit Tigers. They did lose the first one 3-1, and then they won the next two on Tuesday and Wednesday 5-3 and 9-7 respectively. Bullpen still an issue. The rotation is still an issue. But today, I just want to focus on opening day. Red Sox game, first pitch, 2:10, just in a couple of hours. Red Sox opening day at Fenway Park is so, so special. It's so enlightening. It's so joyful. It's just hard to put in words. I've never been to Fenway Park on opening day, so I don't know the in-person emotions and feelings behind it. But watching it on TV, talking about it, it just puts you in a good mood. I just opened up this episode with a heater of a topic in the Xander Bogaerts discussion of resigning, trading, letting him walk. But now look how calm I am. Look how calm I've become. Red Sox have 4 games against the Twins today, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Monday is the Marathon Monday, and that game is at 11:10. Another glorious day here in Boston, Massachusetts, New England area. Getting baseball at 11 in the morning while thousands upon thousands of people are running in a 26.2-mile race. Oh, you just can't beat it. You can't beat it. And I know today is the anniversary of the marathon bombing. So I do kind of want to dial the excitement back and just a moment and just, I talked about it on Monday with the whole Dwayne Haskins thing. Make sure you tell your loved ones that you love them. Make sure you tell the people that mean the most to you how much they mean to you. It takes a couple of seconds, and it'll make the other person feel good. I don't want to turn this episode into a sappy, sorry episode. How I started with Dwayne Haskins on Monday's episode. But just take a moment before you leave the house. Kiss your significant other. Hug your children. Send a text message to one of your friends like, hey, hope you're doing well. It doesn't take much effort because you just never know what's going to happen. You just never know, whether it's a tragic accident like Dwayne Haskins, rest in peace, whether it's a horrific major event and such as the Boston Marathon bombing. You just never know, and it could be anything in between. So take the extra seconds and just let those that care, or let those that you care about, the ones you love, treasure, friends, family, close ones, pets, doesn't matter who it is. Just let them know how much they mean to you and how much you love them, how much you care for them. And today's a tough day. As exciting and joyous as it is here in the New England area, it's still a tough day of what happened 9 years ago. 9 years ago. Holy smokes. It's been a long time. It has been a long, long time. I remember I was watching the marathon, and I was flicking back and forth between the marathon and the Red Sox game, because obviously they were on at the same time. And I got to, the marathon I was watching. I was like, all right, let me go to the Red Sox game. And I'm watching the Red Sox. And then I get a notification from ESPN on my phone. It was 1 dead, 30-something injured in Boston Marathon bombing. Obviously, more details to come. It's wait, what? Is this an event within wait, what? Dead? Injured? No. Is this supposed to be a history thing? 50 years ago something like this happened, so we're just recollecting on it? And I'm so I tuned back in, and it's just talking about the marathon bombing. I'm oh my God, this is serious. And then, like, again, another one's like 2 dead, 67 or 60 something injured. It's like, holy smokes, this is real. So it's just like, it's tough. It's tough. I fortunately wasn't impacted by the Boston Marathon bombing personally within my inner circle of friends and family. But a ton of people were. Absolute ton of people were. So, as glorious and as exciting as today is, just take a second. Like I said on Monday with Dwayne Haskins things, rest in peace. Take a second, reach out to your friends and family, your loved ones, the ones you care about the most, and just let them know how much you love them and how much they mean to you. But the Red Sox are currently, I know it's way too early to be looking at the standings. They're 3-3 right now, half a game out of first place. Not that matters because everybody's within like 2 games or whatever. But after starting the Bronx 1-2, and then you're able to get 2 of 3 from Detroit, it's promising to see that you're back at 500. Going into opening day weekend, because it's going to be important this early stretch in the season, as you cannot take anything for granted where you're playing against the Twins, the Blue Jays, the Rays, the Jays again. So it's like April's going to be a tough month, and you got the Orioles at the end of the month. It's going to be a tough first month. And that first month, you and everybody else is going to be wrinkling out the creases of what this 2022 team is going to look like. What can we do? What can't we do? Where are we strong at? Where do we need improvements at? Every team's going to go through it, and having a tough schedule such as opening up against the Yankees, the Twins, the Jays, the Rays, the Jays again, it can be challenging. And the Red Sox, I think their 2022 season will be built upon what they do in this first month. And again, 40 to 60 months is when we'll get a much better idea of where the team, or any team really, will be at. But being Red Sox fans and being the local team, we want them to win now. That's just kind of how it is. But I'm very excited. I can't wait to tune into the game and just enjoy 2022 season at Fenway Park. So let's transition to the Celtics, because I do want to touch upon their series with the Brooklyn Nets that will start on Easter Sunday. Which is a little odd. But the Nets won their 7-8 playing game, so they automatically get vaulted to play against the Celtics. I'm not going to talk about everything else. I don't care about everything else right now. I care about the Celtics and the Nets. Celtics-Nets 2-7 matchup, identical mirror to last year, except the Celtics and Nets have flipped their seeding. And a lot of people are worried. A lot of people are worried that the Celtics might lose. And that's fair. That's a fair assumption. I think if the Celtics can maintain home court and win both games here at the Garden, I think they'll have a significantly strong chance to beat the Nets in 5-6 games possibly. Now, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, and I'm not trying to be a green teamer. I'm just giving you my thoughts and opinions about it. There's been a report saying that Rob Williams may come back sooner than expected, that he may be back for the Brooklyn Nets series. So could we see him at a game 4, a game 5, a 6? Seems very possible at this point. As today's April 15th, game 5, if necessary, would take place on April 27th. And then, if necessary, game 6 would take place April 29th, which is 2 weeks away from today. So Rob Williams must be on pretty good pace right now to be back for that Brooklyn Nets series, if the series gets that far, 5-6 games. I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Do not rush him back. He is injury prone as it is. He's very sensitive, but he's such a vital part to this team, both defensively and offensively. And the Nets are going to body him. They're going to push him around. They got some big guys too, Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. So it's going to be tough. Oh, and LaMarcus Aldridge. It's going to be tough. Oh, wait, no. I think DeAndre Jordan. Isn't he with the Lakers, I thought? No, the 76ers. Okay, well, they still have LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin. Some 2 big guys that will still body and push around a little bit. So do you want that need to kind of take that kind of risk or potential beating this early in his recovery? Hey, if he's fully healthy, doc just cleared him, and he's able to practice at full capacity, then absolutely. But just be careful with him, that's all. So what do I think about the Celtics Nets series? Well, I think it's going to be a good series. I think it'll at least go 5, 6, 7 games. I don't think it'll be a clean 4-game sweep. I don't even think it'll end in 5. I'm looking at game 6 one way or the other. I already mentioned how important home court is, and if the Celtics can win those first 2 in Boston, escape out of New York with one of those games, maybe they can close it on game 5, game 6. It's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough. That Brooklyn Nets team is good. KD and Kyrie playing out of their minds right now. But you still have Tatum. You still have Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, potential Defensive Player of the Year. I like my chances. I mean, I'm not going to say it's an easy win for them, but I like my chances. If I had to pick, I'm going to say Celtics in 6. I think the Celtics in 6 is a fair assumption. Both teams are very good offensively. Celtics are clearly the better team defensively, as they're like the best team in the league defensively. And if the Celtics can win those first 2 games, maybe one in New York, game 3, game 4, I could see the Celtics winning in game 6. That's just my opinion. Do you feel as confident as I do in the Celtics? Let me know in the comments section below if you're listening to this on YouTube, or reach out to me via social media at Murph's Cardtown. Let me know if you feel as confident as I do. And yes, you could say, Murph, you weren't confident about this team at all. You were waiting for more consistency and you didn't want to buy in. And you're right. And you're absolutely right. I don't want to buy in because I'm afraid that, hey, you had this fantastic 3.5 months. You were able to go from like the 11 seed all the way up to the 2 seed. Okay, show me that it was all for nothing. I'm rooting for the Celtics. I want them to win, and I think they'll win. I will buy in, and I will emotionally and spiritually invest in this team if they beat the Nets here in this first round. Because I said it time and time again that we've seen this before, and then they lose in the first round. Look at last year. Look at dating all the way back to the Isaiah Thomas years. But that was fun, though. We didn't expect to do anything until, you get Jaylen Brown and Tatum. So I will invest emotionally and spiritually when and if they beat the Nets in the first round. Because I was not going to put my heart and soul into this team for them to just lose in the first round. No matter what seed they were. The 2nd seed, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, or the 6th seed, or whatever seed. And if they were the 7 or 8 seed, an absolute fail. So let's see. Let's see if the Celtics can pony up. And if they do, I will sit here talking about how the Celtics completely changed their season around. They proved all the Celtics haters wrong. They proved me wrong for not believing in them earlier, but hindsight's 2020. For me not buying into this team earlier, hindsight 2020. And I'm looking forward to the series. Again, first game is Sunday, Easter Sunday at 3:30 p.m. in Boston. Game 2 will follow up with Wednesday, April 20th at 7 p.m. Both of those games are in Boston, and we won't have a game in New York until Saturday. But let's not jump ahead all too far. But let's do pivot and talk about the NFL mock draft that I have assembled here for today's episode. And I finished this yesterday. I finished this mock draft yesterday, and I'm really pleased with it. I like it a lot. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect. I don't know if any mock draft has ever been perfect. But I do want to go over my whole mock draft for you, starting with number 1, Jacksonville Jaguars taking Aiden Hutchinson, edge rusher from Michigan. Number 2, Detroit Lions, Kyle Hamilton, the safety out of Notre Dame. Texans at 3 will take Trayvon Walker, defensive lineman from Georgia. The New York Jets with their first pick here in the top 10, taking Kayvon Thibodeau, the edge rusher from Oregon. And to wrap the top 5, I have the Giants with their first pick in the top 10, taking Ike Ekwonu, the offensive tackle from North Carolina State. That is my top 5 as it currently sits. I did change it up a bit. I had Evan Neal in the top 5 going to the Giants. He's all the way down. I'll get to him in a little bit later. Hutchinson's the new number 1. Hamilton jumps to 2. Thibodeau comes all the way up to 4. Trayvon Walker all the way up to 3. And Ike Ekwonu drops from 1 to 5. So a little bit of change, actually a lot of bit of change in the top 5 here. And I could see this being accurate. I do see the Jaguars taking Aiden Hutchinson, the best player in the draft. Kyle Hamilton and Trayvon Walker could flip-flop at 2-3. I would not be surprised if Kyle Hamilton drops to maybe like 5, 6, 7, that kind of range. But, I mean, he's a fantastic player. He's the best defensive back, being a safety, that there is in this draft. I still have the Carolina Panthers at 6, taking Malik Willis, the quarterback out of Liberty. I don't know how confident I feel with that pick. I just feel like they're going to try to get ahead of the Falcons and Seahawks and taking what they believe is the best quarterback on the board. Is it the smartest thing to do? Absolutely not. The New York Giants take Jermaine Johnson, the edge rusher from Florida State. The Atlanta Falcons take Drake London, the wide receiver from USC. Seattle Seahawks take Evan Neal from Alabama, the offensive tackle. I had him going 5, and now he's dropped down to 10. Very big change right there. I know he's he's fallen all the way down to 9. I know he's had a little bit of struggle, but he's still arguably the best offensive tackle in this draft. And the Giants probably will have their pick between Ekonwu and Evan Neal at 5. And I absolutely see the Giants taking somebody at 5 with that second pick at 7. I don't see them trading up. I don't see them. They could trade down, I guess, from 7. Get who they really want at 5. No one in particular at 7. Maybe they fall back a little bit. Grab some more assets. Again, when you have 2 picks in the first round, it's not a bad idea. Definitely not a bad idea. And then I have the New York Jets taking Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver from Ohio State. That is going to wrap up the top 10 here in my mock draft 2.0. Sauce Gardner falls from 4 to 11 going to the Washington Commanders. I'm a little lower on him than a lot of people are. I know some mocks I saw out there had him going in the late teens and then obviously top 5, top 10. Washington could absolutely use a cornerback, a defensive back of some sorts. They'll have their choice between Sauce Gardner and Derek Stingley Jr. from LSU, who I actually have going to the Minnesota Vikings. Flip-flop those if you wish. Commanders taking the better of the 2. Could we see a team like the Jets take them? Absolutely. Or take one of them. Could we see Seattle take one of them? Absolutely. But I think 11-12 is a good spot for both Sauce Gardner and Derek Stingley. Again, Commanders will have their choice between one of the 2, so you could easily flip-flop those, and I won't have a problem. But then at 13, I have Trent McDuffie going to the Houston Texans, the cornerback from Washington. So I have 3 cornerbacks going in a row, 11, 12, 13. I could see a team jumping up to 13. Now, again, the Texans have 2 picks in the first round. They got 3 and 13. So I could see a team from the late teens, early 20s, trying to jump and get ahead of the Eagles, the Saints, the Chargers, Eagles, Saints, and taking Trent McDuffie at 13, especially if they need a cornerback, and especially if Sauce Gardner and Derek Stingley go 11 and 12. You don't want to fear out and lose on Trent McDuffie at 13 if the Texans do take him, which I have them being mocked and taking them, because those 3 are probably only 3 cornerbacks that should be going here in the first round. I do have another cornerback going in the first round. I'll get to that later on. But if you're a team and you're like, oh, smoke, Sauce Gardner and Derek Stingley are both gone, let's try to move up so we can get one of these guys before them 2 are off the board. If Derek Stingley, Sauce Gardner, or Trent McDuffie, if any of those 2 out of 3 are at 13 Texans, I don't see a team moving up, because I see the Ravens, or I have the mock taking Tyler Linbaum, the center out of Iowa. Philadelphia Eagles at 15, taking Jordan Davis, defensive tackle from Georgia. The Saints at 16, taking Trevor Penning, the tackle from Northern Iowa. Chargers taking Bernard Raymond, the offensive tackle from Central Michigan. Philadelphia Eagles taking Nakobe Dean, the inside linebacker from Georgia. And I just don't see a cornerback going there. And then I have the Saints taking Jamison Williams, the wide receiver out of Alabama. I'll get into that in just a second, but I do want to finish my discussion about the cornerback situation. I could absolutely see the Eagles or the Saints at 15, 16 taking a cornerback. I could absolutely see the Eagles taking a cornerback at 18 if they pass on one at 15. And I could also see the Saints grabbing a cornerback at 19 if they too pass on one at 16. So if 2 out of the 3 cornerbacks are still there at 13, I don't know if a team will move up because the Texans may take one, they may not, and that's going to leave at least 1 or 2 here remaining. So it's tricky. It's really tricky. The Ravens or the Saints, I don't see them taking one. I'm sorry, the Ravens and Chargers, I don't see taking a cornerback. So could a team like the Bengals that need one trade up? Maybe, but I feel like it's going to be way too much of a stretch for them just to take a cornerback, which, I mean, was clearly their biggest weakness in the playoffs this past year, clearly evident in the Super Bowl. Do you want to mortgage the future, though, to get a Trent McDuffie or a Sauce Gardner? Maybe. So look out in the early, or just look out in the whole teens, right? From 11 to 19. Be very vigilant about that section of the draft. Jameson Williams, I have pegged at 19 going to the Saints. They have Michael Thomas, yes, but other than that, they really don't have anybody. This year is clearly a rebuilding year for the Saints, and I think they will get their quarterback in next year's draft or maybe peruse on the market come next year. But bringing in Jameson Williams, let him take his time to heal. Then you'll have both Michael Thomas and Jameson Williams with the quarterback of the future for the Saints under center. I think that's a really good outlook for 2023. Obviously, you'll get Jameson Williams and Michael Thomas at some point together in 2022, but all you're at that point missing is the quarterback, and I think 2023 is what they're shooting for in terms of their short rebuild. Steelers still taking Kenny Pickett, the quarterback out of Pittsburgh. I know a lot of people are high on him. Me personally, I am not, but again, that is my own opinion. Could I see Pickett going to the Carolina Panthers at 6? Yes. I just don't think it's happening. I think Malik Willis is better of the two, and I think the Panthers will take the better of the two quarterbacks. Could they think that Pickett's better? Sure. Could I see Pickett going to 6 and Malik Willis dropping to 20? Yes. With Jameson Williams off the board to the Saints at 19, I have the Patriots taking a linebacker in Devin Lloyd, the linebacker out of Utah. Clearly a need for the Patriots, wide receiver, linebacker, arguably D-line, cornerback for sure. If Trent McDuffie, a Derek Stingley, who I've heard might fall even further in the draft, is there at 21, I'd rather see them go that route than Devin Lloyd. But Devin Lloyd is here on my big board at 21. There's also, where is he? Nakobe Dean I have going to the Eagles. And in my draft notes, I do have the Patriots. I even say it. Patriots could pass on receiver at 21 and go with linebacker and Devin Lloyd. Could take Nakobe Dean if available at 21. Say the Eagles take Devin Lloyd instead, then I could see that void in my mock draft being filled by Nakobe Dean for the Patriots at 21. The Packers taking Chris Olave, the wide receiver from Ohio State, filling in that void of Devontae Adams. Even though they just signed Sammy Watkins, he's no Devontae Adams. Clearly, Chris Olave has a significantly higher ceiling than Sammy Watkins. I bet Chris Olave's floor is Sammy Watkins' ceiling at this point. And then the pick right after them, I do have the Cardinals taking Treylon Burks, the wide receiver out of Arkansas. If this mock draft is true, then I could see the Packers taking Treylon Burks at 22 instead, and then the Cardinals taking Chris Olave. So those two picks could easily be flip-flopped there. The Packers will just have the choice between Olave, Burks, and Jahan Dotson. The Dallas Cowboys take Tyler Smith, the offensive tackle or guard from Tulsa. That does not change. Buffalo Bills take Daxton Hill, the safety out of Michigan. A great versatile weapon in the secondary, especially with Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde on the wrong side of 30 and their contracts ending fairly soon. So bringing in a Daxton Hill-like player will give them versatility and usability now in nickel and dime sets, but it'll also give them a nice, good safety for the future. Tennessee Titans still taking Zion Johnson, the guard center out of Boston College. I have Devontae Wyatt, the defensive tackle from Georgia, falling all the way down to the Buccaneers at 27. Could I see this happening? Yes, clearly it's in my mock draft. Could I see him going earlier to maybe the Patriots? Of course. Could I see Jordan Davis fall from the Eagles and them take Wyatt at 15 or 18? Of course. But here in my mock draft, I think Jordan Davis is better. Therefore, he's the first defensive tackle out of those two taken, and the other falling all the way down to the Buccaneers at 27. 28, the second pick in the first round for the Packers, I have them taking a guard out of Texas A&M, Kenyon Johnson, to help solidify that offensive line. Protect Aaron Rodgers a little bit more because clearly he is the future of this team for the next handful of seasons. Kansas City Chiefs have 29 and 30 here in this draft. In the first one, I had them taking George Karlaftis, the edge rusher out of Purdue. And then their 30th first round pick, or the 30th overall in the first round, I had them taking Jahan Dotson, the wide receiver from Penn State. I like this pick here. Could I see them trading out of that pick or trading both of those to move up? Yes. The Chiefs have a lot of flexibility here. Same as the Packers, having 22 and 28, and the Chiefs having 29 and 30. If there's a player that is significantly higher on their big board that has fallen a little bit to late teens, could we see a package of 22 and 28 to move up? Could we see 22 or 28 in a second, third round pick to move up? Yes, the same with the Chiefs, 29 and 30, or 29 or 30 in a second and third round pick to help move up to get whoever that player is. Could I see the Chiefs also waiting to draft a wide receiver in the second or the third round, whereas that wide receiver class is so deep, and them going somewhere else with 30, maybe another like a linebacker or another safety or defensive back of some sorts to help replace the void of Tyrann Mathieu, who is now gone? Absolutely. But Jahan Dotson at 30 seems like a logical pick for me since they did trade Tyreek Hill. So filling in that void of Tyreek Hill and just bringing in someone in to be part of the future for the Chiefs, I don't think is a terrible idea. Cincinnati Bengals are taking the fourth cornerback in the first round. And that's Andrew Booth, the cornerback out of Clemson, again to help solidify and shore up that secondary. If one of those cornerbacks, Sauce Gardner, Derek Stingley, or Trent McDuffie, fall to say 21 where the Patriots are, could we see the Chiefs try to trade up to 21 with giving up a second or third rounder and the Patriots moving all the way down to 30? We could absolutely see that if one of those cornerbacks does fall because the Patriots are known to trade back. They will never trade up, but they are known to trade back. And then the last pick here in the first round, I do have the Detroit Lions taking Matt Corral, the quarterback out of Ole Miss. Again, that does not change from my first iteration of my mock draft. I think taking that quarterback at 32 is a smart choice. You get that fifth-year option. You let Corral heal and recover and rehab, all while Jared Goff is still the quarterback. Corral can learn under Goff because Goff is clearly not the quarterback of the future. He will not be, and the Detroit Lions are expected to not do as good this year. Similar to what they weren't able to do last year, am I right? So I really think that's going to be a good pick for them there at 32. I don't see them trading back. I don't see them trading up. Staying there, take a quarterback, get that fifth-year option, go into day two with the 34th pick in the draft. So that is my full mock draft 2.0. I'm very proud of this list. I'm very pleased to see a lot of changes all throughout the first round, whether it's the top 5, the top 10, the back end of the draft, the middle of the draft. A lot of movement has happened, and I'm really pleased with this draft. Obviously, there's going to be even more changes come mock draft 3.0, which will be out sometime next week. However, before I do wrap up my mock draft 2.0 discussion here, I do want to go over some of my draft notes really quickly, and then we'll wrap it up. There are no projected trades in this mock draft yet again, similar to mock draft 1.0. Defensive heavy in the top 5 picks, with the first 4 picks being defensive players. D-line and O-line take up almost half of the first round, with 15 total picks taken on defensive line, edge, offensive tackle, guard, center players. Half the first round, just about half the first round going on the trenches. Very important positions. Not the sexiest, not the flashiest, but extremely important positions, and a lot of positions of needs for teams here in the first round. The Giants have a choice of offensive tackle between Evan Neal and Ekonwu at 5. So, again, I have them taking Ekonwu. Could they take Neal at 5? Absolutely. Either way, I see them drafting one of them at 5 and then using 7 on D-line. Could they trade out of 7 and have a team move up? absolutely, that's also a possibility in itself. The Panthers still take Malik Willis at 6, although he's projected to go later in the first round. In my opinion, I would rather see him go again in at least double digits. I just think the Panthers will just really buy into Malik Willis because they don't want to fear losing him to, like I said, the Falcons or the Seahawks, maybe even the Commanders at 11. So there's a little bit of scare at 6 for the Panthers if they do end up passing on Malik Willis. Texans pass on getting Davis Mills, a receiver, in the first round. Sauce Gardner falls to Washington at 11, but I could also see him going before or even after 11. So that 11 is definitely not a hard, result for him in the draft. O-line heavy again between 14 and 17, which was the same as it was in mock draft 1.0. Saints draft Jameson Williams over Olave, Dotson, Burks at 19. If they do take a wide receiver at 19, they will have their choice between those 4, and I could see them taking either of the 4 at 19, but I do have Jameson Williams pegged to the Saints. Patriots pass on a receiver at 21 and go with linebacker Devin Lloyd, which I already talked about because I think their need at middle linebacker is a very strong need and one that should not be neglected. However, I do think wide receiver will help you in the long term. Well, I guess both positions would really help you in the long term, if I'm being honest. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do there. They will have options, but in this mock draft, I have them taking Devin Lloyd. Again, to reiterate, they could take Nakobe Dean if he's also available at 21. But I don't think the Patriots will have their choice in Devin Lloyd or Nakobe Dean, whoever is available out of the two. And then the Packers give Rodgers a weapon in Olave, but they could either take Burks or Dotson here. So again, with the Saints drafting Jameson Williams over Olave, Dotson, and Burks at 19, I have the Packers taking Olave at 22, but they have their choice between Olave, Burks, or Jahan Dotson. So that is going to wrap it up for my mock draft 2.0 here for the 2022 NFL draft. I really hope you enjoyed this. I indulged deeply in the whole thing. Hopefully I was able to give you enough information as you need to help you get through the week. Kind of conjure up your own little mock draft thoughts and projections, as well as 3.0 will be out sometime next week, and I'm very excited for that. However, let's sit and simmer over my mock draft 2.0, and let's talk about it in the comment section below here on YouTube. Or we can talk about it via social media at Murph's Cardtown. You can find me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Again, that's at Murph's Cardtown. But thank you so much for joining me in today's episode number 136 of Murph's Boston Sports Talk. I really appreciate every single person downloading, listening, and enjoying, as I greatly appreciate the love and support. And again, if you're listening to this on YouTube, please make sure you smash the thumbs up button. Comment any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns down below in the comment section. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel, as I am so close to 250 subscribers. I can almost taste it. I currently sit at 247, and I cannot wait to be humble enough to say that I have 250 subscribers. But again, that is going to do it for today's episode. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the Celtics playoffs. Enjoy Red Sox opening day weekend. And enjoy whatever kind of activities you'll be doing outside, as we're projected and expected to have fantastic weather. So hopefully you are able to do so. I will catch you in the next one for episode number 137 on Monday, as we will be diving into, of course, Red Sox, Celtics, maybe a little Bruins chatter, and we'll probably circle back and revisit this mock draft 2.0 as well. But that is going to do it for this one. I'll catch you in the next one. But between now and then, you guys know that I love you, and I will always, always see you.